for you. Mazel, mazel. We're glad that you're here with us. So it's a wonderful time to think about this idea of citizenship, of beshalach, this idea of redemption. Remember, these ancient Israelites were going through a journey, and they were just about to be free from Egyptian slavery. And in the text that I'm going to show you is this song of getting to the other side. But before they go, before they actually leave the shore, Moses is going to tell them some words. And these words have been very powerful to them. The words are up on your screen. It says, Adonai yilachem lachem, Adonai yilachem lachem, v'atem, I did the English wrong, I'm so sorry. V'atem tacharishun. And it says, the Eternal will go into battle for you. You hold your peace. What does it mean to hold your peace? It means to stay silent. But this idea of God going into battle for us, that's a profound idea for those ancient Israelites who never experienced freedom. What could it have meant for someone to go and fight for them? It must have felt like so foreign. But Moses is telling everybody, hey, don't worry, we're going to get out of Egypt, and God's going to be on your side and is going to fight for you. For us moderns, sometimes we have a hard time thinking of God as a fighter, God as a warrior. And if we go back to our slides, we see that here in the text on the right side of the screen with the big long piece, that's the Song of the Sea. That's what it looks like, the Song of Redemption. And in this part that I circled and I blew it up next to it, it's a little bit bigger, it says, Adonai ish milchama, that God is a man of war. It's a very anthropomorphic setting, image of God. God is a warrior. Well, those Israelites needed a warrior, but I'm going to suggest to you that it's not our only way of seeing, because you see this on the screen. The very first thing I said to you, Adonai yilachem lachem, that God is going to go into battle for you. Well, if you look at the word yilachem, you might see another word, the last three letters in the Hebrew that might be familiar. Yilachem, you see a lamed, a chet, and a mem. That's the word for bread. Now, God's not going to go into battle with bread. That's not what I'm saying. God's not going to start swinging chalot and throwing challah breads at everybody, because challah is too precious to God, and God needs to make French toast the next day. But let's put the playful piece aside. God goes into battle, and the word for he will battle is the same word for making bread. This God who battles is the one who makes bread, who gives bread to all the people, says one of our Hasidic commentaries. Can you imagine that? The God who goes into battle is also the one who gives bread to all the people. I love that interpretation just from looking at the letters. And if we go to the second part of the text, where it says, Adonai yilachem lachem, then it says, V'atem, and you, tacharishun, hold your peace. Hold your peace means to be silent. Now remember, this happens before they go into the sea, that God's going to go into battle and everybody be quiet and just have some trust. But our teachers aren't satisfied with that. They look at that last word, tacharishun, you should stay silent, and they see the same root letters in the book of Job. And in that context, the word is to plow. The same root of staying silent is the root letters in Hebrew, where it says choshe at the bottom, for plowing. What could it mean if we put all of this together? The eternal will battle for you, and you should hold your peace was our translation in the beginning. But now we can say, God will give you bread, but you do the plowing. God will give you bread. Now you do the plowing. How could that make sense? I think God gives gifts. Remember, we said immigration, those who move to this country bring blessings and strength. I think that has always been our story, that we get to bring blessings the way God has brought blessings. What are the blessings? God has given us incredible materials in order to make bread, but it doesn't come just on its own. We have to do the farming. We have to do the milling. We have to do the baking. We have to deliver it to alfalfas. We have to get it from farm to table. There's a partnership that happens here. It's not just that we need to remember to trust God, but we have to remember to trust that God's giving us the resources. We get to go through the mud once the sea is split. We are the ones that have to pull and push everything in order to get to the other side. We have been given the seeds to bring amazing birth and growth out into the world. And I think that's why we're brought out of Egypt. It's not just to be free, but so that we can plant something incredible. We can plant seeds with ethics, democracy, justice, compassion, empathy. What is it that you get to plant and that can make our world more whole? I'm going to invite you to turn to the chat. I would love to know, what seeds can you plant? God's going to give the bread, all of the necessary resources. All of the necessary resources. What can it be? What are you going to plant seeds of? And how can they benefit our world? Let's take a minute and think about that. Because I don't believe that we're just here to receive. Think back to the Dead Sea, the sea that's filled with salt, kind of going from the Jordan River all the way to the south of Israel. We call it the Dead Sea because it only takes. It never gives. It just receives. It just takes. And so it's a sea that's like dead. But that's not what this text is telling us. God will give you the bread. You do the plowing. What seeds can you plant, my friends? And may they come to be part of our journey, because the sea is splitting all the time for us. We have a chance to do something great on the other side. Aleinu L'Shabeach is on page 586 at the bottom.